Today, I have the honor of chatting with the incredible John Bush, the vocalist of the band Armored Saint, discussing the upcoming release, Emotion Factory Reset, which will be out May 22nd. I hope you enjoy.
Hi, Nick. I'm so sorry. My last one went long.
That's okay. That's totally okay. That happens sometimes. How are you
Yeah.
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
I like
Trying
your
to get myself
background.
settled here again. What's that?
I said I like your background. It's
Oh, thanks. It's actually a fish tank in the background here. If you could see where I'm actually at. I used to have it in my library. I have like a library of a whole bunch of books, and that's where I used to be set up. But
oh, you should. Yeah, the library is cool. You show
yeah,
your reading influences.
yes, yeah, I think it's important. I think a lot of people have lost the art of reading.
I know. My wife actually reads on a Kindle, which is fine because she's
Yeah.
a very avid reader. But I still like just, getting books and reading
Hmm.
actually the aesthetics of book, kind of like I like LPs and CDs and
Hmm.
I
Yep.
kind of I miss that stuff.
Yep, having the physicalness
Yeah.
in your hands for sure,
Oh
and
my
the
God.
smell and the experience. I mean, it's a
Right.
whole experience.
It
I'm
is.
so thankful that vinyls have come back
I know.
because it seems like people are now taking the time to listen to full albums like they deserve to be listened to, since you guys put so much time and effort into putting not only the music together, but into a specific order. And I feel like vinyl has brought back the wonder that we got to grow up with of hearing an entire album instead of just picking and choosing songs here and there.
I concur. I think music's meant to be listened to that way. I get it. Everyone, people's attention spans are this now, especially
Yeah.
younger people. I mean, sometimes my kids, my 19-year-old son, he won't even listen to a whole song. I'm like, dude, you changed it in the middle of the song. It's like, oh my, it's like, what? But what are you gonna do? That's a different generation. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I still buy CDs and listen to them in my car, and I'll look at the credits maybe once, glance at the lyrics maybe once, but I still want the aesthetics of the CD and put it in, take a look at the artwork and or the LP, and I
Yeah.
love vinyl, and it's
Yeah.
just I dig it. So
One of my favorite things when I was younger, before, streaming, was I would read the thank yous in albums that I already liked, and they would always thank, bands. And so then I'd go and I'd check out that band, and it was always like the artwork was really important then because you didn't know what you were gonna be buying. And so I'd
right,
go into like the hard rock metal section, go, okay, I heard this and I heard about this band and the thank yous. I like the looks of it. Let's cross our fingers and hope that I end up enjoying it. And the majority of the
right,
time I did.
right. Yeah, I mean, that's funny. I mean, of course, how many people we all bought records on based on the covers and
Hmm.
word of mouth for sure. And that's
Yeah.
still the case. I
Hmm.
hear somebody telling me something. Of course, I use my phone sometimes to go on and stream a song. It's
Oh,
funny. I'll sometimes buy CDs. I'll order them, and then I'll go, I'll talk to my wife and go, this isn't good. And she goes, well, did you listen to it in advance? I go, no, I just heard about it. She goes, well, why didn't you listen to a song or something? I'm like, no, like, I mean, just check it out. And sometimes it doesn't always jive with you, but
true.
I mean, yeah. I mean, some people complain that CDs, LPs are overly priced, but it's like, man, we pay for water. People buy bottled water and they don't think twice about it. That costs like what? Sometimes three, four, $5. It's like you're paying for water. So
Right.
you pay for, I love coffee, don't get me wrong, but like, sometimes coffee's like $5, $7.
Mhm.
And what do? You buy some coffee that you drink and then you're just gonna piss and shit it out. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, it tastes good and I like it, but like, then you're gonna have qualms about like buying a record that might affect you emotionally for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that you can't put a price on. So I don't
Mhm.
know.
No, I absolutely agree. Music is something that's there for us during all the times. It's the comfort, it's the language we all speak. It's something that's so near and dear to the majority of the population globally's heart.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that there is this weird like hesitancy when it comes to supporting the musicians who are creating this music for
Yeah.
us to be able to experience.
I know it sucks. I mean, record sales just ain't ever what it's going to be.
Yeah,
It's a drag actually
it is.
because it's music, man. It's like it's such an important part of people's lives. But hey, this is the way it is, and hopefully, streaming revenues are at least favorable to the artists eventually
Yeah,
if they are that way. Because this you can make it, although you can make it a little easier now because of people's home studios, Pro
true.
Tools, things of that nature. Although getting all that gear is not cheap,
Yeah,
right? But you can make records in your bedroom these days, and people do.
yeah.
Um, but I mean, we did a lot of it in Joey's house, vocals for sure. You're not gonna, we didn't do drums like that. We did it at 606 Dave Grohl's recording, Foo Fighters recording studio, and that was awesome to go there.
Oh, that's awesome.
You don't need to sing vocals there per se. You can go into, almost like a bathroom and sing vocals, right? But yeah, and then we mixed it. Jay Ruston mixed the record, and he charges money. He's, as he should. He's,
Oh,
a rad producer, and he costs money. So this stuff costs money to
yeah.
make. So people should buy it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Well, I wanted to share a quick story with you, and then I want to dig into the album. So, you guys had toured here with Wasp. I think it was, let's see, it was almost 2 years ago. It'll be two
Where
years
are
in
you?
November.
Where are
Yeah,
you?
in Boise, Idaho.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Cool. Awesome.
Yep. And I was going through like some really rough stuff in life. I was going through a divorce. My aunt had just passed away my favorite aunt had just
Oh,
passed away
sorry to
that
hear that.
morning of the show.
Oh,
I had a
God.
friend that was coming into town and wanted to go to the show. And I was like, you know what? I'm not a Wasp fan, just not for me, but I very much am an Armored Saint fan. I'm very much a John Bush fan. I Anthrax is my favorite of the big four. And so I was like, I want to go see him. I need this little bit of peace. And so went and you gave me that piece for the, hour that you guys played and I was so thankful. Unfortunately, the night ended horribly as well, but that hour that you guys gave to me was so precious and so important, and I will never ever forget that. So thank you for
Well,
that.
I'm sorry that all the surrounding stuff was so tough for you there. That sucks. I mean, that again, music sometimes is the escape from
Yes.
the mania of life, right?
Yep.
And I'm glad that you were able to have that.
Yes.
It was cool because we never played Boise. That was the first time we had ever played there. So I remember that being a great gig and I being excited about playing there. So hopefully things are looking up in your
Hey, you
personal
know
life.
what? That's life, right? The ebbs and flows of life. It's just how it
It
goes,
is.
and
It
and
is.
that's
It
okay.
is. Ebbs and flows, man. That's a way to describe it, actually. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I do want to dig into the album, obviously. I've been able to listen to it all the way through multiple times. I want to talk about the title first, Emotion Factory Reset. I think it's such a clever and important title for the world right now. We all
Yeah,
need an emotion factory reset.
no
Tell me
doubt. No
about the
doubt.
title.
Yeah, I mean it does feel like it definitely connects to what people are going through, with the onslaught of information and media, surge and the AI thing and everything that's kind of going on as we're dealing with this as humans, right? I think that the emotion of music, especially Armored Saints music, is diverse. I know that we're kind of rooted in, our metal hard rock status, if you will, but we always kind of feel like we can mess around with different emotions when it comes to songwriting. We want to do that as when our influences kind of pave the way for us, and we want to keep that going. We like to kind of challenge the listener and not just kind of give one specific kind of style of music. It's all over the place sometimes, but hopefully cohesive at the same time. Um, I think that, you know, I've been saying I kind of like this idea of a factory that kind of is an effective way of functioning. Like, if you have a business and whatever. You could take the Ford plant in Detroit somewhere or wherever there is one these days. People are working and they're meticulously building things and you work as a unit. And, as a band, you're kind of like that. Everybody's got their roles, but everybody's kind of effective and working whatever their craft is, and in the end, it kind of becomes this product. And factories can be kind of viewed as slightly cold environments, but I don't. This to me is a warm circumstance. So, and then every time you make a new record, you're kind of regrouping and we're trying to reset, your thought process on how you want to make people hear your music and you're kind of resetting every day almost. I think
Yeah.
we're all kind of doing that. So it's a cool lyric. It was cool. Actually, Phil Sandoval came up with the lyric and he kind of submitted some stuff to me and I was like, yeah, let me use some of this stuff and with some of the ideas I had and it's a great title.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's a great title. I want to also talk about Not on Your Life. Tell me about
Fun
that song.
song.
That's an amazing song.
Yeah, it's a fun song. It's it's kind of a rocker. Although it goes into that kind of midsection where it gets a little kind of intricate. Joey always kind of pushes the boundaries. I think maybe this is the Fates Warning part of the influence of his life of kind of getting progressive sometimes with some things. Some cool beat and especially in that mid part. But the verses are kind of and the chorus are kind of simplistic, and it kind of repeats the chorus. Sometimes we have a couple songs on this album, Not on Your Life, Compromise, where the lyric idea is repeated. Sometimes as a writer, sometimes you have a tendency to change the lyrics in the chorus, or have it just be the final line. But it was cool to kind of just have this part repeat, and so make it simplistic. So you can make things creative and simplistic at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of like I said, it's kind of a rocker, and for some reason, a lot of people gravitated to that song. I was surprised actually, but
Interesting. Huh.
yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, I'm sure that is interesting for you guys because you're in the midst of, creating it and you don't know what people are going to like end up being more, geared towards. So I'm sure it is super interesting to hear what people are leaning toward when it comes to once you actually release it. It'll be
I
interesting
I
to see if
I
that's
always say
the
it. Yeah, I always say it to me. I'm almost more amused by what people think. I
yeah,
have my own feelings and thoughts, of course, but
yeah,
um, once you release a record, you're like, there's like, oh boy, oh no, here we go, and
yeah.
it's funny because one bad review and you're like, oh, you're crushed. But
Yeah.
hey, it's life, whatever. But um, yeah, I think I always, especially when it comes to lyrics, and people are like, I get this from the song. Is that correct? And I'm like, it's always correct because that's what
It's your interpretation of it. Yeah, I like that. Where do you usually get your lyrical inspiration from? Yeah.
wherever, anywhere and everywhere, just waking up in
Hmm.
the morning and, kind of, whether it's something I read in the news or it's a conversation I have with somebody or, an experience that happened, walking down the street or whatever it is, um, I think it's unlimited in the things to write about. And that's kind of my viewpoint when it comes to writing lyrics. I'm not really confined to wondering or questioning if this is metal enough. Like, I don't care. I really don't care. I've written songs, Song Loose Cannon on La Raza is about people's terrible driving habits, and it probably annoyed me one day of like people stop, going through stop signs and speeding. And I'm like, you drive like shit, and like, I'm gonna write a song about it. So, and I did. So, I don't know, whatever.
Little does that person know that that was driving so horribly that day or
They
around you
inspired
that
me.
now I have
They
a song
inspired me with
to
their terrible
base it
driving
off
habits
of.
here in Los Angeles.
I also wanted to talk about Buckeye. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, Buckeye's cool. It's probably one of the most personal song on the record because it was kind of inspired by my daughter going away to college. Um, it's really cool music. We got this kind of soft intro and then it kind of ends on the soft outro, if you will. But it's kind of this heavy, it kind of feels like Zeppelin-y kind of feel to me throughout the verse and the chorus. So I do my best Robert Plant. I could only try, but yeah, it's really cool. Like it has some great melodies and big chorus, and it was a song about the different emotions that again I felt in connection with my daughter leaving and going away and being real proud, but being a little bit having some anxiety with it,
Oh,
feeling some sadness, of course, because
hmm.
my little girl was moving, but
Yeah.
super proud. She's tooling around Europe right now because she's doing a
Oh.
semester abroad. So she's in Berlin right now, but her home
Whoa.
base is in Rome, and
Oh,
we went to go
good for
visit her. And
her.
she's killing it. Yeah, so it
Good
was
for
really,
her.
really cool to
Yeah.
just write a song about that. But I always, I don't always want to write from the standpoint of a personal thing because I want it to be the listener to get their own kind of a feeling from it. So it could be the same a feeling for a person, that's listening could think of just a void of distance and what that may mean, somebody leaving, or a relationship ending, or um, family member dying, or whatever it is, something
Right.
that's being affected by people being separated. So
Yeah. I have a son that just turned 18 this month actually, and he graduates in May. And so I'm in the midst of dealing with all of the, and it is an emotional thing. Like you're so proud and you're so excited to see what they're going to do, but
yeah,
there's also anxiety is a good word to say with that. There's also this weird emotional anxiety. Like it's not necessarily a control thing, but it's also like I'm not gonna be able to see everything like I've been able to see for the past however many years. I now I'm gonna miss out on some things in life that it's just normal, but it's a very emotional thing. So it'll be interesting listening to that song again under the lens of what it's about for
yeah,
me
do it. Listen,
personally.
do it. Listen to it again. Put some headphones on
Yeah,
and crank it because that song is, it's really it's just has a sincere kind of feeling to it, and
yeah,
it's just a great tune. Yeah,
yes.
good luck with that. Yeah, that's one of the
Thank
reasons
you.
I didn't tour for a few years because my kids were young and I didn't want to
Yeah,
leave. To me, it was a struggle because I want to always play music and performing live is one of my favorite things to do. But I also was like struggling with them being little kids and being gone. So I
oh,
know I'm sure a lot of people struggle with that as musicians or anybody who travels for business or athletes who are gone a lot. It's a tough thing because you're trying to make a living, but you're also gone. And
yeah,
these people, you can't get that time back. So.
yeah. Yep, absolutely. I wanted to address, you said you're trying to do your best Robert Plant, but yeah, you don't have to do Robert Plant. You're John Bush and you have a very
No,
distinctive voice that
no.
people love. I mean, you've been a beloved vocalist for so long. People, as soon as you hear your voice, it's like it could be you could be doing a side project or a guest vocal and people wouldn't know, but as soon as they hear that's John Bush. So
Well,
you don't have to be a Robert Plant because
well,
you're
so
John Bush.
yeah, no, yeah, I appreciate that. I think that's something I yearn to accomplish. It took a while, really, quite honestly. I think to finally get in, kind of have my own thing. We were young when we started. We were 20 when I first made March of the Sing. I think I was 20 years old, so I really didn't know much about singing still at that point. And trying to develop my own kind of unique style, I think was always a primary ambition, but it took a while to do that. But, I think that to me, that's the most important thing is the recognizing, people recognizing my voice. And that to me is the biggest accomplishment because, my favorite singers, that's what you think when you hear them, Bon Scott, Lemmy, whatever, Sebastian Bach, it's like, Blackie, whatever. I mean, you want to hear a unique singer. Certainly the guys like Halford and Ronnie James Dio, Bruce Dickinson, and they're the best in the business. And, they all have their unique style. And I think that's to me the most important thing. I was never somebody who's like, I have a 4 octave range voice. I'm like, I don't know I have a scratchy, bluesy, voice, but it's powerful. It's loud, sometimes too loud. My wife was telling me I was too loud last night trying to have a conversation with my quiet down, dude. I'm like, I can't look. I'm sorry, I'm loud. But
You're like, I can't hear anymore. I have to speak
well, that's
loudly.
slight factor as well. I've been a candidate for hearing aids, what I've been told, which
Uh,
is
yeah.
really, really kind of humbling. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, been listening to heavy metal music for 40 years, so there's probably some repercussions to the job. But yeah, I don't want to lose my hearing completely because then I wouldn't probably be able to sing too well on pitch, which is sometimes a struggle live anyways. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's something I do wish that they would have talked about more back in the day. My son, his name's Hendrix. He plays guitar, and well, his name's Hendrix, and he plays guitar.
Hey,
It was like destiny.
perfect.
But he's really good about wearing earplugs, either when he's playing or at shows. And he'll
Yeah,
always say, "Mom, you need earplugs? Did you get your
yeah.
earplugs?" And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna be regretting that in the long run because I go to a lot of shows, and I'm like, thank goodness you are smart enough at your age to protect your ears, especially if you're
No,
going to be
that's very
playing on
smart of him.
stage."
That's great. And you can get really cool earplugs that actually just filter out the highs
Mhm.
or the stuff that would do damage, right? And it still sounds good. So
Yeah,
you
that's what
might
I
have to
need to
do a
get.
little bit like I belong to, oh, I don't belong. My in-ears were made by a company called 64 Audio and they make cool earplugs just for listeners, not just in-ears, which is in-ears has helped tremendously because even though I probably still listen to it too loud, um, but I could hear myself. I think that's been the struggle as a singer for years um, is never hearing myself. Like I mean, it really sucks. Like honestly, I can say with monitors, like I probably 75% of the rehearsals and live performance I had, I couldn't hear myself. Seriously.
Serious.
It's just, it's not fun, man. This is
Oh,
sucks. 'Cause then you're over singing, you're pushing too hard, you blow
right.
your voice out, and it's just, you can't
Mhm.
hear yourself. And
Right.
it sucks. So with in-ears, it's changed the game and
Awesome.
it's helped a lot. And it probably has helped my hearing too.
Yeah,
So
I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah. One more quick question. I know you're busy and I don't want to take a lot of your time. And I'm sure you're feeling behind now.
I'm
But
a little behind, but that's okay. This has been a great interview. Thank you very much.
thank you. Self-care, balance, all those things to help protect your mental health, not only with going through just life and worldly things at this point, but just, on the road, the fatigue and everything that goes on with that. What are some things that you do to help with your um mental health, self-care, all that?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a great question, actually. Hmm. Well, on the road, I think the key is just sleep, of course, which I struggle with. Um, I don't want to get too dependent on like Valium. Sometimes it's just helpful, can I tell you? Um, Trying to always find ways to just get rest. As a singer in particular, if you don't sleep, man, it's going to be a struggle. So, yeah, I think that's really, just getting as much rest as possible because that'll help your brain and help your mental health viewpoint. Because being gone from home I get a lot of anxiety actually, especially pre-tour. It's like once I'm out there, then I'm good. But like the build up to a tour, it creates a lot of anxiety for me. Um, I don't know why particular, but it's just it does. And so it's just trying to find that calm place. It's not, I should probably meditate, but I don't. Anything that kind of helps kind of do that. I think that's the key thing is also when you're on the road with, surrounded by countless other people, you got to find your
Yeah.
space, your solitude. It's really important. It's hard to do that on a bus with 10 other guys, but you find your bunk, get your bunk and that'll be your solitude place. Although it can be a little bit, um, just tight quarters, So, but yeah, I think all those things are really important as far as being a musician, especially in touring. I got a strong family circumstance here with my wife. She's awesome and keeps me grounded. Um,
Mhm.
Sometimes abruptly, but that's okay. That's her style and that's who she is. And it's good. It keeps it all in check. And for me, it's all about staying humble. Really,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of missing in society right now.
Yeah.
People being humble.
Hmm.
I think it's a really cool attribute.
Yeah.
Instead of going and now bragging all the time, I was like, man, just let people discover you. So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of, like I said, kind of missing in
Hmm.
society right now. But that's just who I am. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have an ego and I can be a dick for sure. I've had moments, but I think in the end, it's just trying to remain humble, and all that kind of
Hmm.
helps. I think with staying grounded, and that
Hmm.
helps the mental aspect.
That makes sense. You mentioned anxiety a couple times. Is that something that you struggle with?
Not really. Not really. I think it's just there might be moments, but I
Hmm.
don't think so. I feel pretty good about things. Um,
Good,
for the most part, I
good.
just try to, I guess I just stay grounded. I think that's the most important thing, really. So however that's achieved.
Right, right. Well, I love the album. I'm excited for everybody else to be able to listen to it next month. It's something that I'm definitely going to keep, taking advantage of and listening to before and then again once it's released. Thank you so much for taking this time with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is a great interview. Thanks so much for all your
Thank
cool,
you.
intriguing questions, and it's great chatting with you. And I hope life's on the upswing for you. And hopefully we'll get to Boise again soon because it's
Yes,
great. That
would
was
love
really
that.
cool. And Idaho is a cool state. So thanks for all the support. Really appreciate it.
Yes, hopefully a headlining tour this next time.
You very well could be happening.
Yes, yes. Awesome. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, you too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.